Hey guys, welcome back. I'm working on a 4600 monitor. I am filthy because this tube came out of one of those TVs that I picked up the other day. This one actually has some scratches on the face. That's why I'm not too worried about it sitting on the plywood, because it already has some scratches that I'm going to have to try to eventually buff out. I did wipe the tube down with some window cleaner, but I didn't get it all off. There is so much black on this, I don't even know like how that even happens, and it's really, really thick black. But you know, the TV's from early 90s, so if it was used a lot, I could see it maybe doing that. So this actually had a yoke on it that would have worked on the 4600 chassis. Problem is the plastic that the clamp goes around to hold the neck onto the tube was broken. Okay, so it was moving around a little bit. So I said, screw it, I'll just pull it off. And I went to take the convergence rings off before the yoke, and those also shattered into a bunch of pieces right here. So there's my convergence rings. So that sucks, because you want to keep your convergence rings with your tube. Unfortunately, I can't do that because, as you can see there, the plastic literally corroded and just busted. For some reason, this plastic is super, super brittle on this thing. I mean, you could just take it and watch. Oh, this is actually a little rubbery still, but it's literally just shattering into pieces. So I wanted to swap tubes because this other tube had a decent amount of burn in. So I figured, you know what, let's just try it. So we're going to try it, you know. Like I said, this one has some scratches on the glass that eventually I need to order a windshield buffing kit that you use to buff scratches out of a car windshield. I used to have one, and I don't know what happened to it. I must have used it or something, and I no longer have it. So I want to get this tube off of this frame. Worst case scenario, we'll put the tube back on that has a screen burn. It's not the end of the world. But fortunately, I had to go get a socket because I don't have one in here. I need a 7/16, or what is this? Yeah, I need a 7/16 socket real quick. Okay, so I want to get this tube swapped, and then we'll go over what I did to the chassis. So, first things first, I'm going to set this up on my chair so I can get these bolts out. God, I literally have black like all over me. It's like I just keep touching myself in other places, apparently. See, the funny thing is the tube doesn't smell like cigarette smoke or anything, so it's just very odd. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was just in a really dirty environment. Okay, so I got the frame loosened up, or loose here. So now we can slide this off. All right, now we're going to put it right over top of this one. Now, the weird thing with the 4600 monitor is the convergence rings are attached to the frame. Okay, so not the convergence rings, the gauze coil is attached to the this frame rather than on the tube. So now we have one on the tube and we have one on the frame. We're just going to use the one on the frame. The one on the tube, I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to probably just tuck that cord in there just in case, you know. I don't want to go cutting it off. But we need to bolt this on here, and then we got to take the yoke off of this other tube, in which, you know what I might do? I have a 4600 that has a bad tube. I think I'm going to grab the yoke off of that one, because might as well leave the yoke on this one. But then again, this yoke was attached to that chassis, so yeah, maybe we should just pull it off of this one. I don't know if it matters, but you know what? Since we already have a convergence ring problem, we might as well at least leave the yoke matching the chassis that it came off of. Guess that probably wouldn't be too bad of an idea. The caps that were on this monitor have never been changed. So now we're going to pull this yoke off and convergence rings, hopefully. So they had this clamp directly at the bottom of the yoke. So we're going to put it back in that location. Okay, so that is the bottom. And usually, always, the terminals, no matter what yoke you have, will point towards the top, or point towards the anode cup. So this is what the tube looked like. You could see there's some pretty severe burn-in on that tube. So let me set this off to the side real quick. I don't have a lot of room in here. I don't have a lot of room. I'm gonna set it on this rubber mat I got over here. Okay, so that's out of the way. Now we can get yoke put on here. So like I said, and we have the wedges on there still, which is nice, because that usually helps. So let's just slide that on. We'll lightly tighten it. Okay, now we know that this was at the bottom, so I want to keep it all in together, try not to move too much of it. We're just going to stick it right back on like that. Tighten it down just a little bit. Then we know it's not moving around on us too much. Okay. All right, so now on the chassis itself, I did a whole new cap kit. So the chassis has a whole brand new cap kit. These are all original caps that were on this chassis. Never been replaced. Put these in the garbage real quick. My garbage is full. Yes, what a mess. Ugh. All right. So not only did I do a cap kit, I went over every pin for the daughter cards, reflowed all those. Okay. I reflowed where the yoke goes in. I reflowed all the pins for the power, for the board where the power goes in, you know, this little power board here. Even the pins right here. New caps on this, new caps on this. So basically everything that needed reflowed is reflowed on this. I got to put it together still. On the daughter boards, this is the video board. All the pins are reflowed on here, and on here, and on here, So those are all redone, new caps. Same thing with the other board. All my plug ends right here, all reflowed, and new caps on this as well. So this was a working monitor before I capped it. Now I am going to have to solder on my my width coil wires because I had to cut them to take it apart. So first thing I need to do is I need to put these plastic pieces back on. Okay, back one's easy because it just slides right back on as long as I put it on the right direction. And once again, guys, yes, this stuff has not been completely washed and cleaned, okay? And the reason being is I'm not going to go sticking it on the shelf because if I don't use this monitor for a year, it's going to be filthy again. So what does it really matter? I just got to have to clean it anyways. So that piece is back on. Now this one's tricky. You have to bend this out. I guess you could probably take the screw out, but I chose to bend it instead. It's some weird size nut or bolt. It's like a 3mm or something weird, but you could just carefully bend it and then move it back. It's totally fine. So now this plastic's on here. Now we can mount this metal plate back to the plastic with our 1/4" nut driver. Got 4 mounting screws, and these will be the chorus screws, not the fine ones. The fine ones go into metal. The more of a chorus ones go into the plastic. These I usually will not use a drill on because this plastic is old and brittle and it'll shatter, and then you're screwed because then you don't have a good way to mount this thing. So basically there's a time and place for a drill, and then there's a time not to use it. This is one of them cases. We got to put a plug end on my power wire too. I am supposed to be picking up an arcade cabinet on Saturday. Just a bare cabinet, but we'll do a pickup video on that. Okay, now we are going to slide this into position. There's 2 pegs here that the metal plate, these 2 notches in the metal plate, one here and there, slide into those 2. Just like that. And then we got to put a bolt in there and then one in the back. But I don't know where I put them. Probably dropped them. I probably threw them away. I bet you I threw them away just now with all those caps. Yeah, good luck finding them. Okay, so guess I'll go get 2 new ones. I have some, might not be in here. I think they're out in the arcade. Let me go grab 2 new screws. Okay, I wonder if my if the local parts store sells a windshield kit to buff out scratches. I'll have to look. If not, I'll have to order one. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I figured I'd try it. This back screw is a bitch to get through. Unless you have a long extension, which I do not have one in the house. You know what? Maybe I do. I actually might have one in the house. You know what? I'm not going to fight with that back one right now, because if this doesn't work, I'm just going to have to take it apart anyways. Cannot get replacement flybacks for these, which is strange. You would think somebody by now would make them, but they don't. But you know what? I can't say that I've had one go bad. So you got that going for you. Okay, so now let's put our neck board back on. Okay, so we got a neck board on. Let's get our anode cup put back on. Now there is no charge in this tube. As I say that, I probably get shocked. Now the weird thing about a 4600 is you have individual yoke wires that need to get attached to this, and they are labeled, except for in this case. I don't see any labels on them. What the hell? I'll have to go get another yoke and look at it. Yeah, there's no, usually it has letters. R, B, yellow, or R, a B, Y, and a G. Interesting. Well, I'll look that up in a minute here. I have a couple more tubes down here, so not a big deal. I know for the first one's going to be red. You have to make sure you put those in right. Sometimes you'll slide that in and the terminal will actually go between the boot and the metal tab. You don't want that. You want to make sure that the terminal goes through the middle of the metal tab. Okay, let's put our degauss coil on. There's a little fancy plastic clip here that holds the wire. We'll put that on. Okay, then we have our first board here, which is the brown board. That's not our video board. Stick that one on, and our video board goes behind it. Okay, then we have this wire right here that plugs into the top of the video board, and it can only go one way. One pin is farther than the rest. The red pin is wider than the rest of them. Then we're gonna take this and we are going to clamp it back in. Okay, now those are clamped down. We have our anode cup hooked up. We got to solder our degauss, or no, I'm sorry, with coil. But I do need to strip the wire a little bit. These with coils, I don't know if you can get them. And I know that they're a pain in the ass, the way that they made these stupid things. My new solder gun works really well. I'm very happy with it. It's a lot more sturdier than the old guy. Now, I don't think that this has, I don't think this matters which way the wires go on here. I could be mistaken, but I don't think it matters. And we'll clearly find out. Okay, so our with coil's hooked up. Anode cup's hooked up. Our yoke wires need to be hooked up. Our degauss is hooked up, so we're almost there. We need to put a plug in down here because that just sucks. Problem is the wires are really fat on these. So we need a 2-prong Molex female. This girl right there. We need a couple male pins. And these male pins I don't like. It's got some weird metal spot on them that really, honestly, doesn't make any sense to me why it's there. I think I ordered the wrong pins for those. But I make it work. Normally you want the wire, you got to try to catch the plastic with it if you can. Problem is you can't always catch it because this is so fat that that's not big enough for the plastic to go into, or the vinyl, or whatever the hell it's made out of. The shielding of the wire, I guess you'd say. So because those weird wings are on here, I have to crimp it a second time so that it'll go into the plug. And these ones are kind of a pain in the ass to get in. Okay. Pushed one through too far. Whoops. All right. That'll be okay. All right, I gotta go check out some yoke wires real quick. That was backwards. Blue, green, yellow, and then red. At least that's how it is on the other one. I'm going to go double check. I'm not convinced. I think it's upside down. Oh, I think it's right. Find out. Worst case scenario, it'll be backwards. Oh, you know what? We never hooked up. We need a ground wire for the neck board, which is right here. This guy. And because this is a weird tube, I don't think I might have hid the ground wire. Oh, no. It went on here. So this is how this worked. How did this go? Can't get it because of that. So we're just gonna bend it ourselves. We'll just go ahead and make our own. Bend it the opposite way. It'll be fine. All right. Well, let's see what happens. really should clean up my mess. Well, I feel static. Don't know what it's going to do. Okay. That's very interesting. That could be come on. How does that even happen? How does that get stuck? Incredible. Maybe this tube is not compatible. Or maybe my yoke wires are reversed because that connector is different than the one on the other two monitors. I could try swapping them. This yoke's got some issues. Some loose copper wire on it. Same thing. Screen's tiny. Oh, that looks great. Yeah, something's definitely going on here. Maybe the width coil goes a certain way. I don't know. But clearly we don't have a big picture here. Maybe this tube is not compatible, which is a possibility. I mean, I have heard that. But there's definitely something strange going on here. So let me switch those two wires just to verify that is not the problem, which I don't think it is. And I'll be right back. Okay, I switched two wires, which did not do anything. So I'll show you. There's a little horizontal pot in there that you can turn internally. and it'll get it to sync. So I got it to sync in, but our screen is this big. So this yoke is different than the other two yokes I have over there, okay? So what I think is going on is the red and blue is different on this yoke than on the other ones. And to be honest with you, I didn't pay attention to it when I took the 4 wires off because I thought they were all the same. This connector's actually spun, okay? And I did try switching these, that you saw me switch them over and it didn't do anything. So I wonder if my vertical and horizontal are backwards. I'm not sure yet. So I need to go back in my videos as to when I tested this thing and see if I possibly can find on the video and see the order of those wires went in. So I'm going to pause this for a minute and see if I can't figure out if that's right or wrong. Okay, somehow, some way, whoever messed with the yoke on this thing, let me show you it. There's loose copper wires here, okay? I think somebody resoldered these copper wires onto here in a different location, which surprised me because I always thought if you switched the two, you could blow something up, but it didn't. But it's upside down and backwards, which means my blue and red needs swapped and my green and yellow needs swapped. So we can do that real quick. And then there's going to be a convergence ring problem, as we can see already. And I'm not convinced that this tube is very good yet. Just looks dingy and dull, and I don't know. But you know what? You don't know unless you try. So that's what we're doing here. Okay, so it looks completely horrible with the convergence, which is perfect. It's still upside down. So what did I do wrong here? So it looks like I have one race correct and one's not. Okay. I think the yellow and green are backwards. Nope. Well, yeah. Let me think here. Should have paid attention when I unplugged these, but I honestly have never had an issue like this. I wonder if somebody purposely swapped some things around because maybe the monitor was in the cabinet in the wrong orientation, so they just switched some shit around on there. Okay. All right, so now we got to go in the right way. Now we obviously have horrible color. Our black level's up too high. I don't know if these convergence rings are even going to work with this tube. But we're going to give it hell. Just get them loosened up here a little bit. Also, the yoke could play a role in the color too. Okay? And it looks like the yoke's all screwed up too. I'm gonna turn this light off. So our yoke is definitely twisted. Size of the picture is too big. Okay, now you can see how the yoke's crooked. Okay. Trying not to shock the shit out of myself. Slowly getting there. Why can't they make tape like this these days? Fucking shit's 40 some years old, and the damn shit's stickier than a new tape. Okay, see how that turned really weird? That's because I pushed the yoke up right up against the tube. So now, try to start backing it off. See if we can't get something to look decent here. Okay, see how that's starting to look a little better? Stick my wedges back in. Colors are starting to look a little better. Looks like red's driving too high. Okay, see that? How much better we're looking. We got a little bit of discoloration right here, but it's getting better. Looks like we're pretty straight. We're off center, and that's probably going to have to take the chassis out and do a width cap, unless I can move the width coil. We're definitely blurry, which these are never, sometimes these are a bitch to focus. Actually. Ooh, damn. That's not too bad. We've got discoloration right here a little bit. I don't know if this width coil is going to move. These ones are hit or miss. And that's why, you know, those width coil wires, I guess the only time it would matter is maybe if this was adjusted wider and I switched the two wires. Well, then I could see it maybe getting smaller, depending on where that magnetic thing is in the middle. I'm looking for the right size Allen key here. That's not it. Maybe this might be it. Too big. Too big and too small. Damn it. I'm looking. Probably not going to have the right size, because I never do. I got 30 different ones of these. None of them fit. And that's pretty typical. Can't tell if I'm doing anything or not. Maybe a little bit. It's maxed all the way over. Well, I'll worry about that in a couple minutes. Let's get back to the screen. I'm actually moving the screen over a little bit with the convergence rings. All right, I'm going to play with this for a little bit and I'll come back because it's going to be kind of boring. Okay, I got it looking pretty good so far. Green might be a little too high. But we need to make this thing a little wider. It's favoring the left side. We need to bring it over to the right. And we're going to use the width cap kit again, looks like. I'm going to mess with that width coil for a minute. If I can't get it to spin, we're going to take the chassis out and replace C615. We'll have to see what's in C615. So let me mess with the width coil for a minute. Other than that, we're going to be doing that next. Okay, let's power it down and do a width cap, see what happens. So I got to find it on the board. Never done one on this one before. Actually, yeah, it's going to be on the main board. C615 is what we need. I'm hoping I can just kind of tilt the board up. Luckily, I didn't put that back screw in. So these wires for this, the yoke, are different than any other 4600 I have. All the other 4600s are opposite. But as I can see that these wires are loose here, I wonder if somebody pulled this apart and swapped some wires around. Now the width coil will come with this. Well, shit, I'm gonna have to take the metal plate off. So I'm looking for position C615. Something tells me it's that guy stuffed in there. I'm pretty much going to bet on that. This is what sucks about these chassis. One of the things is the stupid design of this. And the other thing that I don't personally like about these is there's just too many components, too many parts, unneeded. I mean, hell, look at a K7000. There's barely anything there. I don't know where it's at on this board, so I'm looking. Be nice if it were out in the open, but I doubt that. R613, we need C615. Where are you? Right there. I was right. I knew it. That guy right there. It's going to be a big one too. Probably 4.7 something. That'd be my guess. It's probably a 4.74. We're going to go down to a 2.74 if that's the case. I'm going to use my desoldering iron because I can't really get in there. I might have to tear this apart farther. Hoping not. Man, it's such a horrible spot for it. That's going to be a bitch. But yeah, we'll let that warm up. I'll come back here in a minute. All right, that's just about heated up. Truly don't know how the hell I'm going to get my fingers in there to get it out. Well, I might be able to get it out easier than I'm going to be able to get it in. Okay. Got it out. Of course, all the way to the back. Swear to God. Nope. Got it. Just like, oh, it's a 394. So 394. We're going to go down to a 224. If I have one. I have a couple of these kits, but it seems like I keep using the same numbers. .224, it's a 630 volt. I wonder if that matters, the volts or not. Seriously. Ah. Here we go, 224, 250. Just gonna combine these into one bag. I have a third package of these, which might be new. I'm not sure. So now I gotta try to fish this into there. I honestly could put it on the bottom side. How in the world am I supposed to get that in there? Seriously. It's like impossible. What a dumb setup. I'm tempted to just put it on the bottom. It's probably the smarter choice. Might have gotten it. Got it. I feel like the game operation. Let me get this game elf plugged in so that it can start booting up, so I don't have to wait for it. Even with these couple scratches in here, you don't really notice them that much at all. Just having a nice burn-free monitor. Okay. Problem now is it's shifted that way too far, and I can't shift it that way anymore because it won't let me. That I don't know what to do about. Got to be a way. There's got to be a resistor or something. There's got to be a way to shift the image that way. And I don't really like that curl either. So I'm going to do a little research online, see if I can't figure out that curl and if I can shift the image over to the right. Think real quick before I do that. I mean, it's still within, but it'd be nice to go that way a little bit more. Just kind of center it out. Colors are not too bad. Need a little bit of adjustment still, but overall, it's not horrible. Oh, you know what? Let me think here. You know what? We can mess with that that pot on the side of the daughter card. Got it. Look at that. Let me see if I have a card here. Okay. So there's a little hole in the frame on the side of this. And you got to get in there and turn this little pot. And this moved it over for me. I think this is... Yeah, I think it's just to center it. So we're way better there. The only thing I don't like now is this arch. And I don't know what that's all about. And then the color's a little bit off still. Let's see what it looks like with the lights off. Because these are a little funny. Not too bad. Not too bad, I must say. Let's try. Let's kill the video. Oops. Okay, I did it. All right, I just was killing it to see. Okay, see how we got a little bit of a red line here on the side of the screen? Can you see that? Probably not. But I have a little red line going down the side of the screen right here. I want to see if I can get rid of it. So I'm going to pause this for a second because it's just too dark. Well, you know what? Maybe I can zoom in on it. I want to see if I can get rid of that little red line. Let's see here. Okay, you can faintly see it. You can faintly see it on the side there. So is that my red drive up too high? Or, see, I'm getting it worse now because I turned the red up. So I'm going to crank the red down until that just goes away. Oh, came back. Okay, right there. I can still see it a little bit. Go over to the other side of the neck here, try not to shock myself. Okay, so it's not going away all the way. So my next thing would be my black level, maybe. I'm going to turn the light on for a second. Okay, black level is now gone. So let me plug this back in. Let it boot up. See if it looks any better. Okay, I think we need some more green. maybe not. Why is it jumping around? Why is it jumping around? I think that's supposed to be blue, not purple. So why is it purple? There we go. Look at that. So basically, on a 4600, a good way to adjust it is to, like I did, cut your video to it and make sure you don't have any colors bleeding through the black screen. You know, blue, green, or red. We had red, so I knew the red was up too high. So we lowered the red down. We ended up having to mess with the black level, and we were able to get that fixed. Got a little bit of convergence right here. That's so minor right there that I don't think I'm going to mess with it right now really much. Still think the red's up a little high. I'm gonna cut the red down a little bit more, I think, if I can. Let's do the screen here. Why is that jumping a little bit? You know what? Is my sync wire not on all the way? No, it is. I was able to fix that. You know what? I wonder if my horizontal hold. Could that be on the verge of going out? Yep, I bet you that's it. There we go. Nope. Okay, I might have to mess with it. I might have to move the image a little bit that way with that other dial. I think it's just on too close to the verge of. I think my red drive pot's a little flaky. We're damn close, guys. No, red is up too high still. It's all the way down. Messing with the convergence rings a little bit more. Just trying to dial it in a little bit more. That's pretty damn good to me, I think. All right, I'm happy with that. I need to look up this curl. It's not horrible. I would like it to be gone. I might be able to get rid of it a little bit by just making the picture a little bit taller. Wrong pot. As long as my other stuff doesn't go off the screen, I guess it's not horrible. Still think the red's up too high. Or it's my convergence rings are off a little bit still. That's the first two, I think. One more minute. Yep. I think it's the first two. I keep hearing this song in my head. The Simpsons. I'm gonna mess with it for a couple more minutes and I'll be back. I got it, guys. I got this thing looking really good. I was able to fix that a little bit by the convergence rings, believe it or not. We got tiny bit of discoloration. Don't care. I'm not touching this thing anymore. That's a pretty badass looking 4600. So another successful tube swap from a TV to a 4600. So we swapped the tube, we swapped the yoke. We'll see if we can buff these scratches out. I'm going to look up right now, see if I can't find a kit for that. But yeah, I'm freaking thrilled with this. I think this looks awesome. Black looks awesome. Colors look good. I mean, I really have nothing to complain about. I have another burn-free monitor. So, I mean, I'm buying TVs for 25 to free to 50 bucks a piece. And I'm able to, and we're getting nice, clean looking monitors out of them, guys. So you really can't ask for anything more than that. I mean, I have 2 more TVs in the shop. I have a K7000 that I'm waiting on parts from Arcade Parts and Repair. When that shows up, I'll try to fix that one. I should be able to fix that one. And then I don't know if I have a width coil, because that one has that burned up broken width coil, and I think I might have used it, which sucks because I already placed my order. Now I'm gonna have to freaking place another order, unless this is it right here. I think this might be it. I think this might be the K7000 width coil. I'm pretty sure this is it. There's a part number I can check, but I'm pretty sure that's it. So we should be able to get that one working, and we'll put it on one of those 2 TVs out there. And then I need to put a screw in the other side of this chassis. Or like they say in other countries, chassis. Trying to think if there's anything else really. Need to get back on Arabian. I want to get that thing up and working. We can throw away these convergence rings because we got lucky. We were able to use the convergence rings from the 4600 monitor. But you saw yesterday, if you guys watched the G07 monitor tube swap and yoke swap, I couldn't use the G07 convergence rings, and it made me nervous on this one because I knew that I had broke them the rest of the way trying to get them off the tube, but I got lucky. So, you know, it's a hit or miss. You know, there is no rhyme or reason to this. You're basically taking parts from 2 different things and combining them into one, and so far we've been pretty successful. I've been really happy with the results so far. So let me know what you guys think. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Somebody had said something yesterday. I was using my degaussing wand too quickly, and I should go slower, and sometimes I do that, but to be honest with you, I don't have to use it very often. And when I do, usually I can just kind of go up to it and zap it real quick and move it, and it usually corrects it. But yesterday I was just fighting a losing battle. I never would have gotten it, I don't think, with those rings that were on that tube. I just think it was impossible, because as soon as I slid on the TV ones, bam, it was almost perfectly adjusted. So I'm hoping you guys are getting inspired to do some of these, because I think it's really worth doing it. I just think, why not? You know what I mean? If you have the ability to do it, and these TVs are still around, it's all that's going to do is prolong the life of these games even longer. You know what I mean? Because the tubes, I would think, would last a long time. You know, I don't think a TV necessarily in most cases. This one I was a little skeptical on this tube because it's kind of dark. It looks good when the lights are out, but it was kind of dark in general in person, and I just think it had a lot of hours on it, especially with how dirty it was. But did an old tube TV have as many hours on it as an arcade cabinet, if you think about it? In the 80s and 90s, these arcades were running 7 days a week, you know, 12, 14-hour days. 7 days a week. I mean, they were on all the time, you know, and they were just, I don't think a TV, unless you, as a kid, I know we weren't allowed to leave home with the TV on, and it wasn't on most of the day. You know, we were playing and doing other stuff. We didn't watch TV all day like kids do nowadays. So I think that a home use TV just didn't get the hours on it that the arcade did, you know. So, all right, guys, I'm going to end this one. Let me know what you think. I have 2 more to go in the shop, and pretty much caught up, wrapped up. A couple of these tubes that have burn-in still work. I'm going to put them somewhere. I don't have frames for them, so I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Kind of, you know, a little scary leaving them like that, but I'll find somewhere to tuck them away. But I'm not going to get rid of them because even though they have screen burn, they still do work. So, oh boy, tired. So 2 monitors today down. I fixed a, what did I do this morning? I recapped the K7000, did a little bit of work to that, and then did this tube and yoke swap on this one. So thanks, guys. I'm going to quit talking, and I'll see you guys later.